Hey everyone, it's Andrew Escobar here, and today I'm going to show you how to replace keys on your Chiclet keyboard. And I'm not just going to talk about the small ones, I'm going to talk about things like the spacebar over here, things that people don't talk about because it is different. So Chiclet has these little kind of like folding things. See how they fold up like that, and I'll zoom in. See how they kind of go like that. So here we actually have the piece that holds in your key. Now you notice it pivots to make that X shape, and this is what holds and snaps back your key back down, or actually I should say pushes up, depending on the position of the key when you're typing. Now this can be broken down even further. So let's say you really pull the thing out pretty hard, and we're going to examine both pieces. Now first off, you'll notice this piece has two notches on the side, and that's what holds it in to this piece. Now this piece has two holes. Now you can't just put these two together in any single way. If you look up on the top here, you'll see that there are grooves. And these grooves have to line up with this part in a way. Now you can put this on upside down. So try and figure out which way it's got to go before you put it in. So let's try one way. If we get it wrong, try again. So we line up the holes with the notches, and in this case you have to pull on one piece of plastic to make it fit. Now you'll know when you get it right because it'll sit flat. It won't, if you get it wrong, it won't be able to close all the way. And that's how you get this part of the Chiclet back on. So now we're going to put this Chiclet back in place. So if you look at all the other Chiclet pieces, you should be able to figure out how this goes in. Now, just like there were notches on the actual piece itself, there are notches down below here that match up with notches on the keyboard placement. So you have to line up those holes. You have to snap them back in. Be careful not to actually ruin the Chiclet plastic, otherwise you have to buy a Chiclet replacement piece. Now, once you get it in the notch, you know, it'll move around like that, and then you got to push down for it to snap the other notches in on the top. And now you've got the Chiclet back in place. So with that being said, and I'm just going to take a random key here, a random button, and it looks like that. You could place it back on. And it just pushes back on. Snaps in place. Now we're going to focus on the spacebar, which is a little different than the rest of the pieces. Now, as far as the Chiclet parts go, they do work the same way. So if you break it off, you can always put it back together in the manner I just explained. But what makes the spacebar different is you can't just push it down and expect it to work. Now the spacebar and other bigger keys have this metal piece that sticks out. And this will slide into holes on the keyboard in order to maintain its placement. Now this metal piece can be removed because it just clips into place pretty much like everything else in a Chiclet keyboard. So we're going to put this back together. Snaps in. Make sure it folds in like that, and we'll slide it back into place. So in order to place the space bar back onto the keyboard, you need to line up these pegs with two small holes. I'll point them out. They're right here and they're right here. So you slide the pegs into the holes first, like so. Now you can press down and the key is back in place. In this case, we're going to look at the enter key because sometimes it's not what you'd expect in a bigger key. In this case, the enter key is a single push, but it also has these metal notches that also need to be placed back in, and this is very common, like I said, for bigger keys. Slides into those holes, you push down, and there you go. Next we'll take a look at the shift key. You pull up. This time we have two of these chiclet holders, and once again we see we have these metal notches. So we slide them back into place. We push down, and your shift key is now back in place. Looking at other smaller keys, like the arrow key here, you don't have that situation. You don't need that metal notch to hold it in place. You just click back in place like the normal keys do.